To work on the gun here on the top, I feel like we need to ground this piece onto the roof. This is just kind of floating in air at this point in time, and I'd like to maybe get that connection on there before we put the gun on it. So let's take a look at that. Maybe I can find an image up here. Let's take a look at this one, this image 13 here. I'm going to press Control Spacebar. And if we take a look at it here, let me zoom way in, we've got this post that it looks like it holds that shield type thing up front, and also I think you put the gun into it as well on the top here. Let's see what else we can find. I'll go ahead and grab here and create a new window, and let's bring another one in and see if we can add to this one here. Well, I do think this one is actually pretty good. Let's go ahead and open this one. And we can kind of get a sense of how that post connects with that plate here. So you've got these brackets coming out on either side of that post. Let's press Control Spacebar and take a look at that. Yeah, so we've got these brackets coming out and connecting to the shield there. All right, so let's work on that. I think we have a good amount of information to work with here. If we go to the side view as well, and I'll go to wireframe, we can see this post here. Here are those brackets right here that are coming out. It looks like we've got a piece coming out the back right here. And also we've got this part that's kind of holding it on. It looks like that's this, and it looks like it's kind of a triangular shape. So we'll have to try and put that in there as well. Now, these things right here, these brackets go into that cut-in of the windows there, that if we tumble around here. So these things right here, that cut-in or that space right here where the window is cut, it looks like that's where those brackets go. So we've got to kind of fit those in there. All right, so I think we have enough information to begin. Let's go ahead and go back to the side view here. And what I'll do is I'll just switch to the cursor tool here and just place the cursor, just click right there and place the cursor there. Then what let's do is go ahead and create a cylinder. And for this, well, let's go with 12 sides, and I'll go ahead and bring it down smaller with 0.1 and 0.2 here so we can see it a little better. And let's just scale this and put it into place. How about, well, if I scale it down a little bit more like this and scale it in the Z with S and Z, let's kind of place it right about here. Let's try this. And what I'm going to do is extrude out a bit for this part right down here. And maybe I need to move it just a bit closer like that. There we go. So I think what I'll do is first work on this piece right here. So down here, we go to edge mode and alt-click that edge. Maybe we can hit E and scale out, E and S, and then E and Z and scale or extrude down. And then let's hit E and S again, and then E and straight down like that. There we go. Now I think down here we've got faces that we don't need. There's that one Ingon face down there. So let's just hit X and delete faces down there. Okay, so we have that done. This up here, we've got this edge right here, that little piece. So let's go ahead and create that. I'll press Control R and scroll the mouse wheel to get two edges, and then click, and then let's press S and Z and scale in to about there. Then we can go to face mode and alt-click between two of the faces. Let's hit E and enter to extrude, and then I'm going to use that Alt-S shrink fatten tool again, Alt-S, and kind of pull out like that. There we go. So let's see what we have so far. So there's what we have so far. I think that's pretty good. From here, let's try and build up that plate or that bracket there, and it looks like it's got bolts back here, and it looks like it's got a plate and then the bracket. It's kind of hard to tell, but let's see what we can do here. I kind of feel like there needs to be a plate here and then the bracket. I'm not sure why, but let's give it a try. I'm going to create a cube, and let's take the size down to, I don't know, 0.1. And I'll go to wireframe, and let's put this in place right here. Let's try that, and I'll scale it down. And I think I want it just like this, like that. Just a plate that we can kind of connect the bracket to. I'll scale it out in the X, and let's try and figure out how wide it should be. It looks like, oh, it's really hard to tell here, huh? It looks like it should be, well, it looks like the bracket should be about that big. Maybe the plate should be a slight bit smaller. Let's try this. I'm going to go right about like this. And then I'm going to duplicate this. I'll just press Shift D and Y and bring this out some. And then let's scale this back out in the X like that. There we go. Now let's take a look at this. What I want to do is insert 2 edge loops here so that we can extrude the brackets out, extrude these pieces out toward the shield. So if I press Control R and scroll the mouse wheel and put 2 edges in there, I'll click twice, then I'll press S and X and scale out to about here. Now we can extrude those 2 out. However, now that I'm thinking about it, we probably want to split it down the middle and mirror it so that we just have to deal with one side. So let's do that. Let's create 1 edge loop down the center here, and then I will go to wireframe, and let's border select these and get rid of these, and then we'll just mirror it over here with a mirror modifier, and of course turn on clipping. Okay, now let's go back to edit mode, hit the 3 key, and I think we can select these, or excuse me, this one face, because of course we have a mirror modifier on it. We could turn on the edit cage so we can see it over here. And let's just hit E and extrude out like this. Now, where should it go? Well, it should probably go to about right here, and then we're going to pull that forward. But I get the sense that we may have an issue here. Yeah, this is what I was afraid of. So we're going to try and connect this up in here, but we're way too low here. So let's pull this up to where we think it needs to be. I think it needs to be about like this, right? So that this can connect here on the bottom. So we need all of these pieces to just be higher. But that's going to throw off where we are on our reference image here. So I think what I'm going to do is cheat just a bit. And it's not exactly cheating. I guess I shouldn't put it like that. But sometimes you just need to make a few adjustments. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and bring this up here. I'm going to grab these edges right here and bring this up. So this is kind of where we need to be. So what I'm going to do is actually come over and in the reference images, go to the side view. And if we scroll down over here to the object data panel, I can click and drag in the Y field and bring this whole thing up. So it's about like that. So I'm just bringing that up so it just matches this area up here. I know it's off down here. That's okay. If we're going to work on things down here in the future, we're probably going to have to bring it down a bit. But for now, I'm going to keep it up here, simply because I need that to fit onto this plate a little better. All right, so we've brought that up. Now what let's do is connect this part here. So for these, I think what I want to do is just move this back straight and move this forward straight, because these are at an angle here, right? You can see they're flat against that plate, which means it's at an angle. So then if we take our insert edge loop tool and insert an edge loop right about there, now we should be able to grab that face there and extrude out. Just hit E and extrude out like that. And then we'll put some bolts in here to connect these up. So let's go steal a bolt off of one of our tires again. Maybe we can come down here and select this, and we can come down, and I'll hit the L key, and then I'll also hit the L key here, and then we can press Shift D and X and move this out, and then we'll press P and separate by selection. There we go. And of course, if we then select this in object mode, we should move that origin to the geometry. There we go. So now let's move this up and use it to connect those brackets. I'll just move this up here. And I feel like there's a bolt or something back here, so let's go ahead and do that. Oh, I've still got the mirror modifier on it here. Let me, if we take a look at it here. Yeah, I've still got the mirror modifier on it. So let's take that away. There we go, that helps. And let's press RZ90, and that spins it around, and I think that's the direction that we want here. And yeah, we just want it to go right in here. And if we go to the top view and hit the period key, now we can slide it over into here. Do we want it that big? Let's see. I'm not sure if we want it that big. It's not bad, but I'll shrink it down just a little bit like this. There we go. And then let's go ahead and press Shift D X and move it over here. And I'll maybe spin it in the Y, RY, and just turn it just a little bit like that. Just so it isn't perfect, you know. And then it looks like there's a couple here on this bracket. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll go ahead and press Shift D and X and move it out here. I'll scale it down a bit because I think these should be a little bit smaller. And then let's angle these so it's in the right place. Let's bring it up to here and kind of angle it like this. And move this to here. And then let's change the transform orientation. We can change from global to local as we've done here with the menu, but you can also press the comma key. So if you hit comma, you get this pie menu, and you can change it from global to local here, or just hit the 6 key, and there we go. So now let's press Shift D and Z and move that down. All right, let's see how we're doing here. We could probably move those in just a bit like that. Yeah, and then let's go ahead and do the same thing over on the other side. We'll just duplicate and move, Shift D, Y, and move that over to about right here. There we go. All right, so we've got that. Maybe we should smooth this just to see how it's going to look. And I'll come down here and turn on auto smooth so we get that. And oh, it looks like we need a little bit more. Let me increase the degrees there. Yeah, that's all we needed. So now that we've got those pieces in, we need to ground it. We need to connect it up with a piece down here. And what I'll do now is go ahead and select that side view again and bring this down again like this. So we need to connect it down here somewhere. So in the next video, we'll go ahead and work on this piece, and we'll bring in some reference images for the machine gun, and we'll begin blocking that out as well.